Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Welcome to another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions for better health and wellness. And I'm your host, Marsha. Thank you so much for joining me today. And of course, before we get started, please go ahead and hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Okay, I hope, first of all, I hope you are all so far having a great and amazing year. Despite many people may be going through different trouble and adversity, but despite it all, so I just want to commend you on pushing forward, okay? Pushing forward through life, because life is full of changes and unpredictability. And as we go through it, sometimes it can be quite challenging. Okay, it can be quite challenging, but we have to weather the storm no matter what, because certain things are beyond our control, which leads us into today's topic. And my quote for today is based on just that. True strength isn't found in trying to control every outcome, but in the courage to release our grip and embrace the beautiful uncertainty of life. That's by me. Okay. All right. So that's what I want to talk to you today about. I want to talk to you about that today on letting go, right? And the struggle with outcome, right? People struggle with it. The struggle with outcome control. As human beings, right? We tend to control and want to, of course, we want to have control over our own lives, right? But sometimes we try to control other outcomes and other things in life that is beyond our control. And sometimes it can really get into the way of things. It can get into the way of the harmony in your life, having that balance, which I like to say, use harmony. I prefer the word harmony. It can wreak havoc of causing stress and having that feeling of not really being in alignment. Okay. So that is why I want to talk to you about that. I want to start with the illusion of control, the illusion of control. Because how many of us really think that we are in control with a lot of things, right? We may have a good job and we're one of the top employees at our company, whatever. You're a top executive, high level worker, executive, whatever it is that you do, whatever it is, maybe you might be the best cook in the kitchen, right? At your job, whatever, right? So we think we are in control. There's this illusion of control. But what happens now is, what if this company is downsizing, right? This company is now downsizing and eliminating certain departments. Now that position is no longer there. And who was in that position? You. Now it's no longer there. It's been wiped away, swept under your feet. The rug has been swept from under your feet, so to speak, and now it's no longer there. What do you do? What are your thoughts? How are you feeling? What's your emotions, right? There's where that uncertainty comes from, and the fear. So we think we have control over many things. We think when we do certain daily tasks, certain things that we do, it's a routine, right? It's a routine. But we know that life itself is unpredictable. Life itself is unpredictable and will have a host of challenges as we move along this thing called life. And so you can go out of your house on your way to work or on your way to wherever, and you can get stuck into traffic. For some reason, I like using that traffic analogy scenario, right? Because everybody hates being in traffic. Maybe that's why I use it. But people hate being in traffic, right? So you're stuck in traffic and you have to reach your destination and the road is blocked. Maybe there's an accident, police, blocking off the road. Now you have to go somewhere else. Now you're really pressed for time, right? Now you're really pressed for time. And so how does that make you feel when you're not in control to be able to just run through that traffic and even tell the police, hey, get out of my way because I have somewhere to be? You're not in control at that moment, right? You're not in control at that very moment. But what you are in control of is your reaction, right? What you are in control of is that reaction, how you react to the unexpected twists and turns of life, right? How do you handle that? And so some people can go about it and say, well, you know what? I'm running late. Oh my gosh, let me find another shortcut route or whatever. So you put in your GPS and now you're trying to find the quickest route to get to where you want to go, right? And someone else may say, you know what? Hey, I'm running late. Let me just give the office a call. Let them, hey, there's police traffic. There's some type of accident. Something's going on. I'm just calling you, give you guys a heads up. I'm running a little late. Right. And so for me, I always give myself a 30-minute, 15 to 30-minute window because I really despise being in traffic, right? When I have somewhere to go to be at a certain time. If I don't have a certain time and I'm in traffic, I'm okay with it. I'm listening to either something, an audible book or something positive, something uplifting, or I'm just in my own thoughts, right? So, but why? What comes with that when we are always in this mode of trying to control everything? What comes with that? All right. And why? And more importantly, why do we feel the need to control outcomes? Why do we feel the need to control outcomes? And it's based on fear, right? It's based on fear. And with that comes the stress and anxiety and health issues, as well as mental health issues, right? So your well-being is impacted by that. When you're always trying to control outcomes, right? You're always trying to control outcomes. And sometimes things are beyond your control and you're not able to control it, right? And some people just love the idea of winning, but it's things that's more important than winning and being in control, right? It stems deeper than that. So the consequences of wanting to be in control is, again, as I mentioned, dealing with stress, anxiety, impact on your mental health, your overall well-being, illness, sickness, right? But why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do some of us have this means for trying to control outcomes, right? And one of the things that I mentioned was that fear of uncertainty, fear of losing, whether it could be losing at a job, losing at a relationship, losing of someone dear and close to you, right? A family member, losing, right? Losses, fear of the uncertainty, fear of the things that you cannot control that will impact your mental health, fear of those things that do not put you in a place of control, but it puts you in a place of vulnerability, right? Emotional, maybe unrest, emotional wellness. It will impact that. And the fear of dealing with certain emotions that you may not want to experience, right? So that fear of uncertainty and how the fear of how you will react, fear of the emotions, fear of the whole idea of being afraid. And so that is why we often resist letting go of control because of that fear. And it goes even deeper than that.
According to GlobeNewsWire.com, an estimated 128,000 health coaches and health educators advise and motivate clients to change bad lifestyle habits and to manage chronic conditions such as diabetes. Consumers, employers, and insurers are each now more seriously focused on improving health and being proactive. Insurance companies, doctors, and patients themselves see the critical need and demand for health coaches, as well as other integrative natural health practitioners. There is no doubt with the use of health coaches being a crucial part of the healthcare team brings added value to the client, patient, and the healthcare system overall. At Health Coach for Women, our mission to get clients to optimal health at the cellular level. We help clients manage their chronic pain, fatigue, insomnia, depression, anxiety, brain fog, diabetes, and gut health with 3 simple protocols. Once you become a client at HC4W, we take a simple test and assessment to determine a plan of action towards wellness. Schedule a call by going to healthcoachforwomen.com.
It goes even deeper than that. And that fear of uncertainty, that fear of letting go of wanting to be in control, can stem deeper into childhood trauma, right? Some type of childhood trauma that hasn't been healed yet. And so the fear of that, the fear, because it may take you to another place of, again, going back to your losses, right? Again, going back to your losses. So maybe someone who has been molested as a child or something of that nature, or maybe a parent died when they were younger, or maybe a parent, left the household. And so that there's that fear, right? What was the experience of that child at that time? The experience of that person at that time would be of unanswered questions and fear of why the person left, fear of that interaction, that emotion that you had at that time of connecting with your feelings and how it made you feel. And so to avoid the feelings of what you may have felt during that time, you would try to do everything to control the outcome of avoiding that experience. And this can happen subconsciously, right? You may not even be conscious of it. You're not aware of it consciously. It's something in the subconscious level, where the childhood trauma, your trauma from your childhood has led into adulthood, to causing you to be the person who you are at this very moment, right? Causing you to be that person of who you are in this very moment, where you feel you always need to control outcomes because of the childhood trauma, right? The childhood trauma that you weren't able to maybe handle at that time, and you had no control because you were just a child. You were just a child, so you weren't able to control an outcome at that time for different reasons, depending on the situation, right? And so this is why we can subconsciously be unaware of why we feel the need to want to always be in control and control outcomes, and having that fear and that uncertainty of certain situations, right? But what if we can learn to accept and surrender? What if we can learn to accept and surrender? So, what do I mean? Go into detail about that some more, Marsha. Okay, I will. So I want to discuss now the importance of acceptance in the face of uncertainty. So how can we accept something in the face of uncertainty? We just go ahead and do it, even though we don't know the outcome, even though we don't know what the results would be, right, during this time of uncertainty. And I'll use COVID as an example, right? People were faced with a lot of fear and uncertainty, with the loss of their job, with the fear of getting COVID, the fear of loved ones getting COVID, and dealing with losses. The fear of the uncertainty of the economy, their financial stability, their financial health, their mental health, the emotional wellness, everything, right? Because that we know that COVID impacted all areas of our lives. Even if it didn't impact us directly, maybe indirectly through someone we knew. Okay, through someone we knew. And what can you do when the city or the state shut down, right? What can we do when the government shuts down and not allow federal workers to access their money? What can you do? Right? And when you're in a state of not being in control and feeling powerless, it's not a good feeling at all. It's not a good feeling. And I can relate to that. I can truly relate to that, right? Days when I slept in my car, right? That feeling of the unknown, the feeling of all these different questions playing in your head. How did I get here? You know, what's going to happen tomorrow? Where will I be tomorrow? Asking yourself true questions that you may not even have the answer to, but it keeps you in that state of fear. And so by accepting, right, being present in the moment, there is no concern for tomorrow and worrying about what could possibly happen tomorrow. Okay? There is no worrying about tomorrow when you're in the present moment. And all you can do is the best of what you can do, the things that you have control over, which is your thoughts, right? How you react to certain situations, and being able to be okay with it, but being present, but keeping your mind focused on a positive, the positivity of now, the presence of now, right? And so being present, living in the moment of now. And so if you are someone who is dealing with different situations, whether it's a career change, a loved one being sick, or just whatever it is, you're someone where right now maybe you may even be homeless, right? Dealing with the right now, living in the right now of what we can do. And we do the best of what we can and what we know. And so by being able to being present in the moment, it allows us to accept. It allows us to accept the here and now, the right now, the present moment. Yes, we have concerns about certain things, certain issues, right? And certain things has to be dealt with, right? And you deal with them accordingly, right? your child, you're getting bad reports from your child from school. They're not doing well at school, right? You just got the news that maybe this one is in the hospital and then things are not looking good, right? But all we can do is what we can do. And that is controlling the things that we control, right? The things that we're able to control, we're able to do that, right? And so that's by, having your mindset in a positive frame of mind, and telling yourself that I'm okay. My loved one, my children, they're okay. And learning how to deal with the adversities of life, the challenges of life, by still being able to go through it. And so that's why mental health is so important. Oh my gosh. Mental health is so important. I cannot stress that enough. That, because you're dealing with people, and you got a lot of, you have a lot of negative people, that their vibration, their energy is just toxic, whether it's in a work environment, home environment, wherever. And so that's why it's so important that you have to be mindful, right? You have to be mindful, and you have to always make sure that your mind, your mental health, and your well-being is in a good place. Doesn't have to be in a great place, but is in a good place where you're able to decipher and where you're able to make wise decisions, and making those choices, making the best decisions for yourself and your family, and knowing when to let go, and be okay with the outcome, and surrendering, right? Surrendering it all and letting it go. Now, once you let it go, you got to let it go and let it flow. Okay. And so that's why I say that you have to be in the present moment. You have to live in the present moment. Accept the things that we cannot change, right? Accept the things that we cannot change, because we cannot change every outcome. Could the person headed to work, avoid a traffic accident 6 miles down the road, and there was no warning, there was nothing on the radio that's saying, hey, avoid this road or whatever? Maybe you may have some inner guidance or inner wisdom to say, you know what, I feel like taking a different route today. Sometimes that's your body's own inner wisdom telling you something that you don't even know. And so you decide to take a different route, and you avoided a collision ahead. You avoided something, right? Sometimes it's just that inner knowing. It'll just come to you, right? And I'm sure many of you have experienced that. Sometimes something you just don't feel right, like something in you, something that was bothering you in your spirit about certain thing. And then you find out such and such may have happened. And you're like, oh my gosh, I was feeling like, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, and something told me, no, do this. So we have to follow that. And sometimes we got to follow that gut feeling that we get. We have to follow that. Okay. So our senses goes much deeper than we realize. Okay. So being able to accept and surrender and letting go, it brings you to a better place mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. Okay. It brings you to a better place, because we have to be aware. We have to be aware that life is full of uncertainty. You have to know this, right? Life is full of uncertainty. And the things we cannot control is out of our control. You have to let it go. All right. Let it go and let it flow. Feeling that love overflow within, right? That's my acronym. Feeling love overflow within. So we have to be in that flow state, guys. We have to be in that flow state. And knowing that once we surrender it, it's gone. It's move on. That's whether it's you trying to control a certain outcome of a situation. Once you've accepted what is and you've decided to surrender it and let it go, let it go. It's no longer an issue. It's no longer an issue because you've surrendered it. And so if you trust and believe and you have faith, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay? And so mindfulness, prayer, all of these things can help you. And so that's why practicing mindfulness or meditation and prayer, these things can help you. Right? These things can help you. And so you can use whichever, all three, or whichever one you choose, whatever is best that works for you. Start doing that, right? Start being more aware of your thoughts, aware of the things that you are in control of. And what you're in control of is the here and now, right now, of accepting where you are, surrendering and letting go to the things that you cannot change, right? And being able to accept what's beyond our control. And so just being present and letting go of the past. And as we plan for the future, right? We can plan for the future, but we don't worry about the future. And see, people with anxiety, they tend to worry a lot. Worry about things that hasn't even happened yet. And you're missing today. You're missing today. So as you go on in your journey, I want you to just remember that. You can control your thoughts, right? You can control your thoughts. That you're able to do. And if you're not able to do that, that's why you need to start practicing some meditation or even prayer or both, right? But meditation helps you to bring you to that relaxation of calming, letting go of your thoughts and being free of thoughts, period. All right. And so whether if you don't know how to do it, you can start out by just closing your eyes and just taking deep breaths, right? Focus on the breath. We can't control everything, but we can control how we react, and we can control how we want to perceive information, right? But again, because of our thoughts, we are able to manage our thoughts. And by managing our thoughts, we're able to manage our behaviors, right? So let's be more mindful of it. And things that we know, if you're that person who always want to be in the person who struggles with wanting a certain outcome, struggle with outcome control, you got to dig deeper. You got to dig deeper and go to the source as to why. It may not be what you want to hear, but you got to dig deeper. Everything that we do and who we are today stems from our experiences, our past experiences, right? And some could be from childhood. Childhood trauma, you may not have experienced childhood trauma. You could have maybe experienced some type of negative experience growing up. as a teenager or leading into going to become a teenager, being bullied at school. I don't know. Or maybe the loss of a friend, the loss of a loved one. And it bothered you in a way that it impacts you in a way where you have a fear of dying. I don't know. Whatever it is. So go deeper to know thyself. Go deeper to know thyself and on your journey of self-discovery, becoming to be more aware of who you are, right? And while you're here, this is another topic, right? But I just want to say, just becoming more aware of your thoughts, because I can go on and on. I can go on and on, but I know this is only 30 minutes. So becoming more aware of who you are, right? And who you were meant to be and who you were meant to become. We got to dive deeper. Sometimes we don't want to take that deep look within ourselves, right? Can't get my words right. We run away from the truth about who we are. Why is that? Sometimes we can run away from the truth of who we really are. For you don't like it, you don't like who you really are. I don't know. Only you have the answer to that. But continue on this journey. Continue on the journey of self-discovery. And I'm going to wrap up because I got a little thing in my throat. But I hope this was useful. And I hope that you make every day count, make every day meaningful, and focus on the present. Stop trying to control outcomes. You have no control over it. Okay. I'm going to end it with this. One thing in life that is guaranteed, right, is life, right? The cycle of life, birth, right? Life, living life, and then death. And this is not to alarm you, but I'm just, for those of you who have the fear of dying and fear of, I'm just saying that's the cycle of life. That's guaranteed, right? If you live, one day you will eventually die, right? The physical body will eventually die. So you can't control that. So when it is time, no one can control it. No matter how in control you think you are, no one can control it. And I'm going to end it on that note. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.